Looking here at the work of joiners as the building of the house continues. Here are ceiling joists at roof level. They're very much like the joists on the ground floor, which form the floor for upstairs. These ones form the ceiling for upstairs. Again, you can see how a steel beam is used to span a large gap, and also you can see how a wall plate is used to support the joists and fasten them to the top of a wall. There's another steel beam in place. Again, they're necessary in places because of the strength needed. You can see quite clearly here what it means by a cut roof construction. These are not prefabricated trusses. They're individual pieces of timber which have been lifted into place, cut where necessary, jointed where necessary, and fastened together to make up a strong roof structure. Here you can see the structure beginning to come together. Right across the middle of the structure you can actually see a very strong steel beam in position. Now this is the detail over the end of the wall. The roof, of course, is extended beyond the wall in order to force rainwater and so on to drip well away from the wall and not wet the wall and thus come through to the inside. You can see the same view, this time from above, showing how it bridges over the inner and outer skins of the wall. Valleys where two angles of the roof meet are very much vulnerable to water ingress, and so it's important that they're constructed very, very well and sealed very, very well so that water can't actually get in that way. Here you have fixings being held again, straps being used to hold the wall plate and the roof structure down to the walls. Again, this is because of wind loading. Soffits are fixed underneath the overhang of the roof. You need to remember that name, soffit boards. They're a trim, if you like, which hides anything unsightly and also seals up the roof. Here's another view of the same thing with all of the soffit boards in place. They look to me like UPVC in this case, wood-grained but nonetheless UPVC. Fascia boards are fitted beneath the overhang of the tiles but sort of on the face of the end of the roof beams. And here we have more detail at the fascia boards. Notice the various plastic and rubber parts of the assembly which seal it and keep drafts and moisture out. However, you do need some ventilation, and this particular construction here is put in place to prevent roof insulation from being pressed up against the tiles and thus preventing any air movement through the gap. Here's that steel beam I mentioned earlier. It's called a purlin once it's up inside the roof structure, and this is one of the key components holding up the whole weight of the roof. And you can see what a large beam that actually is and how much weight of tiles are going onto that roof. Now that vertical component there is not supporting the roof from below. It's actually a hanger which is supporting the ceiling up to that strong steel beam we mentioned a moment ago. Here you can see barge boards. Now fascia boards go onto the face of the end of the joists, but not when it's on the end of the property. The end of the property they're called barge boards. Here's a barge board with a soffit beneath it. Those three names are ones you need to remember. Now actually that isn't quite ready for the slates because we haven't got the battens, the horizontal battens on which the slates will hang, but those will come later. Various stabilizer straps, steel straps, are placed across the roof structure just to strengthen it where necessary. And again, as in the previous video, you can see flashing being built in prior to the roof being assembled. It can be put in place afterwards, but it's much, much easier to do it beforehand. And here's a skylight, probably or possibly a Velux window being put in position in the roof to light the roof space.